Episode 3 of Invincible, Season 4.
I'll do anything to stop that from happening again.
In the center of the city, the hive mind has defeated the Guardians of the Globe too. Livingston is delivering his monologue, declaring that the reign of the sequids begins at this very moment. But what he hasn't noticed is that all of this is a distraction. Robot is using his suit to block the exit of a sewer and is using his human body to sneak inside. The other Guardians are standing by, awaiting his orders. What Rex wants to do is find an evacuation route for the civilians, but soon his plans will have to change drastically, because when the hive mind turns around, Invincible is right there to shut him up. Mark's powerful blow disorients the hive mind and separates it from the other sequids. Invincible wants to know how the hell these creatures came back, but he soon finds himself surrounded by hundreds of their bodies. The hive mind is offended. It's going to take more than a tackle to bring Mark down. Mark claims he only wanted to get its attention. He also asks again how the sequids returned to Earth. Did the Martians send them back to attack? The hive mind explains that they hid inside the body of Roz Livingston. The one responsible for the sequids being here is Invincible. Mark then asks what their objective is, to take over the planet, perhaps conquer everything and then attack Mars for revenge. The hive mind assures that if that is the plan, then Invincible has bad news, because that is not going to happen. Mark claps his hands powerfully and sends all the sequids flying, freeing himself at the same time. Robot gives the signal, and all the heroes begin fighting again. Invincible thought he was going to have to do this alone. He thinks it's great that the heroes had been pretending. Britt orders the team members that while Invincible is distracting the hive mind, the others must save the civilians. So the fight between Invincible and the sequids begins. Mark assures them he will defeat them. He has done it before, and he will do it again. However, the hive mind explains that they have been preparing. They have been anticipating every move the humans would make. The hero's cause is lost, and now the planet is doomed. In the sewers, Rex continues searching for a way out. For now, he hasn't drawn the attention of the sequids. And on the surface, Mark has no time to put up with the sequids. He slams the hive mind's body around and explains that he has been going through a lot lately. He is not playing around here. This attack from Invincible once again disappoints the hive mind. Mark can hurt this human body, but if he kills it, they will simply switch hosts, and so on. In that case, Mark responds that he will do the only thing he knows how to do, and will keep killing hosts until they run out of options. At the same time, the Guardians of the Globe continue rescuing humans, and Mark is completely surrounded by sequids. Even so, he has not given up. He shouts at the hive mind that it will not succeed. The people of this planet are under his protection. They have already endured too much, and he will not allow them to be harmed. It will not enslave this planet, because this is Mark's planet. Upon noticing that he is expressing himself exactly the way his father used to, Mark loses his focus and is attacked by the sequids. Underground, Rex has found the true hive mind. The body above was just the distraction. Rex tells it that this fight is over. However, the sequids are not going to give up. A swarm of sequids falls upon Rex. Meanwhile, on the surface, April receives the signal that everything is clear. Only a few humans are left to teleport. After this, only the heroes will remain inside the dome to fight freely. Bulletproof saves the last nearby civilians, and then everyone begins going through a portal. Back underground, Rex frees himself from his secret prison using his technology and teleports along with the last civilian. In parallel, Mark continues crushing sequids, and the hive mind still has not given up. It remains very confident that they will conquer the planet, but Invincible tells it that it hasn't been paying attention. Meanwhile, the Guardians of the Globe are finally free and are going to help Invincible. According to Robot, the last available host is Roz Livingston. They just need to force it to expel all the sequids, and this battle will be over. Mark receives the information and begins threatening the hive mind, saying it is only a matter of time before it loses. But the sequids instantly attack Monster Girl, hitting her so hard they knock her out of the fight. Robot tries to protect her, and at the same time, Bulletproof strikes the sequids' last remaining host, using Robot's technology. This is over. But not so fast, because the hive mind has still not been defeated. It moves towards Bulletproof, destroying his technology, and at the same time, breaks the weapons that Robot had distributed to the rest of the team. Now everyone is drowning in sequids. The hive mind offers them one last chance to surrender. If they kneel before it, their lives will be spared, and they will be used as slaves, because otherwise, there is no way they can defeat them. But the hive mind forgets one small detail. Invincible has realized that this enemy truly poses a massive threat to the planet. He has been holding back, but he will not allow the sequids to enslave humanity. He has no other choice, so with all his strength, he delivers a blow to the host that sends its head flying through the air. The sequids are left without a host. Robot is stunned and asks Invincible what he has done. Roz Livingston was not the threat. He was an innocent person. They could have found another way. There was no reason for Invincible to kill an innocent man. Mark does not respond. The entire battle had been monitored from the Pentagon. Donald cannot believe that Mark killed someone, but Cecil can. He believes Invincible has been going through a lot lately and has been pushed to his limits. Cecil thinks this is a very big deal, but he has no time to deal with it right now. A large portion of the city is infested with alien life forms. They need to find a way to eliminate them all without letting them escape from the dome. Donald has a solution. Once the Guardians are out, they will spray an airborne pathogen. This chemical compound will infect the sequids and kill them. Donald estimates this will take approximately 2 weeks. It is not going to be an easy task. Later, at the Grayson household, April and Oliver are having a conversation. Oliver has had some tests done, and the results are surprising. She thinks that as Oliver continues to grow, the color of his skin will keep changing, and with the intellect he possesses, in just a few months, he will be able to attend university. Both of them begin to work out Oliver's rate of growth, since the changes in the young boy are becoming more and more frequent. She thinks that perhaps in 1 or 2 years, Oliver will reach adulthood. Suddenly, Mark arrives home. He doesn't greet anyone, walks straight past, and says he will be in his room. Debbie asks Oliver if he had a fight with his brother, but at this point, Oliver honestly doesn't know what is going on with Mark. With him, it's all drama, drama, and more drama. We then travel to the Guardians of the Globe base, where Aquarius and Amanda are talking about what Invincible has done. Rex cannot believe it, but Amanda tells him that this is no longer in their hands. This is now Cecil's business. He will know how to handle the situation. Rex tries to get close to Amanda, but since he has been in the sewers, he really stinks. Amanda tells him to please go take a shower, and that is the first thing Rex does. But once he is in the shower, something appears to go wrong. A sequid emerges from him, but Rex is not going to allow it. He grabs the creature and begins slamming it against the floor until he destroys it. And with that, we put an end to the sequid threat. Returning to Mark, Cecil has come to check in on him. He heard they took out the sequids. Mark confirms that yes, they did, but the only way he could accomplish it was by killing someone. He had no other choice, and lives were in danger. Cecil assures that everything is going to be fine, and that he doesn't need to worry, but Mark thinks that no, things are not fine. It's too much. He can no longer contain himself. He is letting himself go too often, and little by little he is losing control. Mark thinks that maybe he will never be okay again. Suddenly, a portal opens, and Cecil emerges. He has come to talk with Mark. They've had their differences, but given his recent actions, it is essential that the two of them have some time alone. Moments later, at the Pentagon, Invincible has agreed to come with Cecil. Mark wants to cut straight to the point and ask Cecil what he wants. Cecil begins to bring up many things that have happened over a long time. Invincible was already bothering him because he hired assassins, and now his brother has killed the Mahler twins. Then Invincible murdered Conquest, and after that, he killed Roz Livingston. Mark begins making excuses for everything that has happened. He starts with his brother, saying he is not from this planet and has different customs. He says killing the Mahler twins was his fault, since they were trying to take over the world, and Mark says he would do it again, if necessary. And with Roz Livingston, if he hadn't done it, the sequids would have conquered everything. There was no other choice. Cecil stares directly at Mark and tells him the truth. He is terrified of Invincible. Before, Mark was inflexible in his sense of right and wrong. However, now he has developed an ability to shift his beliefs. He begins adjusting them based on circumstances. In other words, Cecil wants to know what will happen when Mark decides that he is the only fit to govern this planet. Invincible assures him that is very far from his plans. As both of them walk, Cecil warns that Sinclair is heading their way, and at Sinclair's lab, the doctor is beginning to hide all the reanimane he has. Back with Cecil and Mark, Cecil continues talking. He thinks that Mark's temper sometimes get the better of him, and he knows that is in his Viltrumite blood. That side of him carries a lot of accumulated aggression. Cecil thinks Invincible is not equipped to make clear and decisive decisions. Mark cannot always be right, especially when he's choosing who lives and who dies. They then arrive at Sinclair's lab. Mark asks why he was brought here. Cecil wants to show him that he was wrong. If Invincible had put Sinclair in prison, he would not have created all the technology he has built for the Pentagon. Sinclair is making the world a better place, despite everything horrible in his past. Sinclair has completely reformed, according to Cecil, and he has just gotten engaged to Josh Teven. They are also expecting their first child. Sinclair ensures that he is not a bad person. It's just that his work drove him to madness, but he knew it was the right thing to do, since the ends justify the means. Mark is not very convinced by all of this. The two continue walking through the agency, and Cecil continues his lecture. He now begins talking about Darkwing. Invincible thought he was a bad person and a killer, but he sacrificed himself to save the rest of the team. Mark begins to understand Cecil's point, and admits that killing Roz Livingston felt wrong. Mark begins to understand Cecil's point and admits that killing Roz felt wrong. He had to force himself to do it because he thought it was the right thing, but it feels horrible when you kill someone. He feels like that is taking the easy way out, and he can understand the point. Killing is almost never justified. Otherwise, Invincible would be just another ruthless Viltrumite, and he does not want that. Cecil thanks him for being able to accept that fact. Mark knows their relationship is not going to be repaired overnight. Suddenly, the conversation is interrupted. There is a situation in New York, and they need to send someone. Cecil asks Invincible if he can go, and without answering, he automatically heads to the location. Donald and Cecil are left behind. Cecil thanks Donald for giving him this mission. Invincible arrived at just the right moment. Donald is not very pleased that Cecil is manipulating Mark. He also doesn't think it was right that Cecil didn't tell him about Conquest. Cecil thinks this isn't manipulation. He is simply using the doubts Mark already has against him. Invincible is too powerful to be roaming free on his own. If Mark were to find out that Conquest is still alive, Invincible would turn against the agency and would have every right to be furious. Cecil admits he made a serious mistake there, but since Conquest abandoned the planet and has not returned, Cecil thinks he may never come back. But what he doesn't know is that he is making a very grave error. On a battlecruiser, Conquest appears before Thrag, the regent of the Viltrumites. The Elder tries to apologize for his failure. He only brings bad news from Earth. Thrag responds and tells Conquest that he is nothing but an animal, and what use is an animal if it does not obey its master? Thrag had ordered him to eliminate Nolan's son and to secure the planet for the arrival of the Viltrumites. Neither of those tasks was completed, and if he couldn't accomplish that, then what use is Conquest? That is what Thrag is asking. Conquest begins making excuses. He underestimated Invincible and chose to play around with him, but the Elder asked the Regent to please remember all the years he has served him. He will never be careless again. Conquest begins to beg Thrag. The Regent of the Viltrumites gives him one last chance. They have discovered that the coalition of planets is going to recruit Nolan's son. Conquest must go and stop them. He must make sure that none of them are able to return to the coalition to join the fight. We then return to Earth, where William and Samantha are talking. She has told her big problem. She is pregnant, but does not want a baby. This is the first time she has told anyone. William cannot understand what is bothering Samantha so much. After all, Mark and she love each other. However, the girl thinks she is too young to be a mother. She is also not married to Mark and does not feel ready to have a baby right now. Her powers are going haywire. Mark is busy everywhere, fighting new threats every single day. As Invincible, how could he be there for a child? What kind of father could he be? Samantha does not see Mark stepping away from his role as a hero at this point. He is very unreliable right now. William asks Samantha why she is telling him all of this. She responds that with everything going on, she hasn't had time to tell Mark, and she has no one else to talk to. She finds it very sad that the closest thing she has to a friend is William, and this offends William greatly. We return to the Grayson residence again. There, Oliver is eating cereal. Lately, he has been very hungry, perhaps due to his rapid development. Debbie is also there and mentions she is going out with Paul. Oliver needs more cereal, but she won't have time to go buy it. Debbie advises Oliver to go buy it himself. However, Oliver is lazy. The boy asks Debbie how things are going with her and Paul. Debbie begins to explain that things are still not serious, and that deep down she doesn't feel very comfortable, but she quickly realizes she is sharing very personal things. Debbie tells Oliver that he should go look for his brother. Mark might need help. Oliver suggests he didn't say anything wrong. However, Debbie explains that is not the case at all, but he really should leave the house and go find his brother. He surely needs help with whatever he is doing. Oliver mentions that Mark and Eve spend all their time together. If Mark is doing something right now, he most likely doesn't need help. But we go to where Mark is. He clearly does need help. A giant dragon is chasing him. Once again, he has ended up in the middle of a gang war. Eve tells him he didn't have to get involved. Several villains working for Titan are attacking the dragon. This will give Invincible enough time to interrogate Titan. The villain begins explaining that this is a dispute over his territory, and that it would be better if he didn't interfere. However, this is not enough information for Mark, so he slams him against the wall and tells him to talk. Titan begins telling his story. He was sponsored by a criminal organization called the Order until he decided that being part of it was too costly and that he didn't need them. That is why they are now attacking him. Invincible asks if the dragon has any kind of weakness, but soon Isotope appears, saying they found what they were looking for. Then Isotope grabs Titan and teleports away. Invincible is furious. All of this feels like a joke to him, so to take out his frustration, he flies up and attacks the dragon. Soon, the villains who are initially helping the dragon begin to leave, and in a moment of distraction, the dragon strikes him. The dragon begins telling him that this is none of his concern, and that if he is a smart boy, he should get out of here. Unfortunately for this creature, Invincible does not give up easily, and just as Mark begins to prepare to fight, the dragon disappears. The reason is that Isotope found the body of the criminal leader, and the villains are now fighting his bodyguard. At that moment, Invincible finds them, just as Isotope is striking the elderly man. Invincible charges at Isotope, but he teleports away. The ones who receive the blow are the other villains. Mark wants an explanation for why Titan is killing elderly men. Titan begins to tell him that he was the one who was attacking. The dragon was an astral projection of Isotope. To Titan's bad luck, Invincible's patience has run out. He thinks Titan is lying. He will not be fooled again. The last time he tricked Invincible into defeating Machine Head, Titan did not turn good. He became the leader of a criminal gang, and now not only has he attacked an elderly man, but they have destroyed the city. Mark begins to squeeze Titan's neck to the point where his rock armor starts to shatter. The villain cannot breathe, and just before Mark delivers the final blow, Cecil appears. The Pentagon leader tells him to stand down. That is enough. He will take it from here. Since Mark could not fully unleash his anger, he leaves the scene very furious. After flying for a moment, Mark arrives at Art's tailor shop. Art is always good at listening to Invincible's problems, so he begins to open up. Invincible feels like he has changed. He thinks he is becoming more like his father, which Art doesn't think is entirely bad, since Art still believes Omni Man is a good man. His methods are the only bad part. The fact that Mark resembles his father is not necessarily a bad thing. However, Invincible tells Art that he is not resembling him in the good parts, and because all of this has been happening since he changed his suit, he is starting to think this costume is a curse. In just a few months, he has watched cities around the world being destroyed. He has spent time digging up corpses. He has seen more death than he can bear. Then Conquest arrived and made things worse. He watched his girlfriend die, even though it wasn't actually real. For a moment, it felt like it. Lately, Invincible has been going to extremes. He has even killed a man. He did it to prevent the deaths of everyone, but it feels wrong, and today he almost did it again. Since he opened that door, he doesn't know if he will be able to close it. His temper is getting the better of him, and it is hard to contain. He can no longer stand looking at himself in the mirror. Mark is feeling like being invincible has been a mistake. Art tells him that's nonsense. The fact that he is sitting here questioning his own actions is proof that he is a good man. Perhaps he has lost his way, but he recognizes it, and many people never get to do that. What Mark is doing right now is a job that brings a great deal of pressure and exhaustion. Art thinks if Invincible no longer wants to wear that suit, then he doesn't have to. The tailor cannot undo what Invincible has done, but if he wants to go back to being the man he was before, Art can help him look like that man again. After this, we see Invincible flying through the air in his old suit. Mark arrived at home, and Eve was waiting there for him. She was worried. She saw him on the news, and she thought he wasn't going to come home early. She also didn't know he was looking for a new suit. Invincible explains he went to see Art. They talked about his recent struggles, and how he wanted to take a few steps back. For Art, that meant a change of suit. Samantha thinks this is a good change for him. She notices he seems different. She also assumes the talk with Cecil went well. Invincible tells her yes, it went fine. Cecil's lecture was justified. Cecil was worried about his actions, and Invincible has grown tired of killing. It's too easy, and now he is convinced that is not the answer, even if it prevents future attacks. Samantha thinks this is the best choice, and feels as though Mark has returned to being himself. Invincible feels it too. He feels good now. Even though this suit is very similar to the previous one, Art made some small changes. They are small changes, but Mark doesn't mind. Invincible invites Samantha out to eat, a quiet evening, and she accepts. But before that, the girl wants to speak with him seriously about something. Mark asks what has happened, but their conversation is soon interrupted. From the sky, Omni Man and Alan descend. Mark's father asks for Invincible's help. He needs his son right now, because a time of war is approaching. Episode 4 is coming, and it is going to be even bigger than this. If you want it fast, all you have to do is comment Episode 4 down below. Every single comment pushes me to drop it sooner. Subscribe, like the video, and I will catch you next time.